Did you know that in 2016, Volkswagen set a record by selling around 10.31 million cars, surpassing Toyota? With rising competition and market shifts, Volkswagen now faces a critical moment. But what strategies will they employ to reignite growth for their electric future? Let's find out. Volkswagen's long been a leader in the car industry, recently putting a lot of effort into EVs to keep up with the times. They've had some success, but now they're hitting a rough patch. Knowing the past achievements and struggles helps us understand the gravity of the current situation. Right now, Volkswagen's EV sales have dropped. This isn't just a small dip, it's a significant problem that could impact their entire strategy. There could be many reasons for this. Maybe their cars aren't meeting customer needs, or perhaps competitors are outshining them, due to which CEO Oliver Blume is shifting Volkswagen's focus as EV sales slow down. Volkswagen AG's ambitious electric vehicle plans are no longer on track. Volkswagen's flagship brand, which once championed its ID series of electric cars as crucial for its future, admitted that it now needs more plug-in hybrids as EV sales slow. This change comes after several missteps with new models and struggles in China, where local brands have taken the lead. Additionally, Volkswagen's cancelled plans to seek outside investors for its battery division and scrapped a €2 billion EV factory in Germany. Volkswagen's still selling many cars with traditional engines, which puts it at risk of exceeding its emissions limit next year. The CEO has asked European regulators for leniency in this regard. This marks a significant shift from just 3 years ago, when Volkswagen's aggressive push for EVs caused tensions with other European car makers. The company had committed heavily to clean diesel engines, but when it was caught cheating on emissions tests, it had to quickly convert to battery-powered vehicles. By 2019, then CEO Herbert Diess promised to launch up to 75 all-electric models within a decade. Diess argued that automakers needed to adapt quickly in order to survive, an approach that annoyed executives from other car companies who preferred a slower transition. Diess even claimed that electric mobility had won the race, boasting that Volkswagen's early commitment was paying off. However, the anticipated rewards have not materialized as hoped. Despite this, Volkswagen's not abandoning electric cars entirely. Blume's forging partnerships with companies like XPeng Inc. and planning a new EV brand in China. The latest numbers from the European Automobile Manufacturers Association show that EV adoption in Europe isn't meeting expectations. The share of EVs has dropped from 14.16% in 2023 to 12% in 2024. One reason for this decline is the high cost of EVs. Less than 30% of Europeans are planning to buy an EV, and more than half won't spend over €35,000 on one. This shift in consumer behaviour could jeopardise Europe's goal of fully adopting EVs by 2035. With so many players adapting their strategies, it feels like we're at an essential moment in the automotive industry. Germany's move to stop investing in EV purchases last December is a major factor behind the sales drop. According to a few sources, this decline in sales could signal falling profits for EV manufacturers and impact their future prospects. Despite investing over €250 billion in electric cars, ACEA says that car makers can't drive the transition alone. But how might the slowdown in EV adoption impact Europe's long-term environmental goals? A comprehensive plan is needed, including better charging infrastructure. Meanwhile, BMW is seeing a boost in sales, reaching over 1 million EVs sold in early 2024, whereas Volkswagen's EV sales were down 3.3% from the previous year, though their overall vehicle deliveries increased by 3.1% globally. In Europe, Volkswagen's EV sales fell by 24.3%. The company is seeing some positive signs though. New EV orders in Western Europe have doubled to 160,000 by early April. Volkswagen's top-selling EV models include the ID.4 ID.5, ID.3, Audi Q4 e-tron, Skoda Enyaq 4, and Audi Q8 e-tron. Volkswagen plans to expand its EV lineup in 2024, with new models like the ID.7 Tour, ID Buzz with a long wheelbase, and Supra Tabasco. Although they remain optimistic, noting that improvements in supply chains could boost sales in 2024. However, reduced subsidies, supply shortages, and high interest rates may slow down growth. ACEA also predicts that the slowdown in Europe and the US could benefit China, which has strong government support for EVs. Volkswagen might see a rise in EV sales in the coming months, but Europe may need a new strategy to achieve long-term success in the transition to electric vehicles. At a recent auto industry event in Berlin, BMW CEO Oliver Zipse was feeling pretty validated. On stage, Germany's Transport Minister Volker Wissing talked about the need for technological openness to cut emissions. Wissing warned that focusing only on battery-powered cars could hurt Germany's key industry, especially with weak EV demand in Europe's largest car market. Zeeps has been recommended for flexibility in car production, combustion engines, hybrids and even hydrogen cars for years. His cautious approach was often criticised for not being bold enough against electric car leader Tesla. But now as EV adoption slows and plug-in hybrids make a comeback, BMW's careful strategy seems smarter. As Germany's EV demand is falling this year, Jan Burgard from Berylus Strategy Advisors said the high-end EV market's nearly full and there's not much choice in the affordable €25,000 range. The EV market has become tougher as governments in Europe disappear and fewer cars qualify for them in the US. Despite new models and flexible leasing options, high costs and poor infrastructure will remain a major issue. Germany's sales are expected to drop by 14%, even more, marking the first decline since 2016. Globally, forecasts are being lowered because EVs are still much pricier than traditional cars, even with Tesla's price cuts. At the same event, Wissing tried to stay positive, praising German car makers and their technology. When asked how the government could help, he mentioned improving charging infrastructure. However, Berlin has been slow on this front. In October 2022, Wissing announced a €6.3 billion plan to boost Germany's charging stations to 1 million by 2030. As of last September, only around 105,000 charging stations were operational. To meet the 2030 goal, Germany would need to triple its current rate of construction. The big question of who will pay for this infrastructure. Rising electricity prices are also decreasing interest in EVs. The goal is to have 15 million EVs on German roads by 2030, but as of November, only about 1 million or 2% of all cars were fully electric. Without more assistance, reaching this target could be tough. As car manufacturers are still adjusting their plans, Volkswagen's Audi's cutting down its EV lineup, and VW's also stepping back from plans to sell parts of its battery unit. If the slowdown continues, it could undermine billions in investments and make it hard for car makers to meet new emissions regulations. As the shift to EVs slows, many drivers are sticking with their old polluting cars longer. Although for BMW, the situation might feel like a win. The CEO once criticised those who thought combustion engines were on the way out, questioning whether regions like southern Italy would have charging stations in every village within the next few years. Overall, the global EV adoption rate's facing challenges and many automakers are shifting their focus to plug-in hybrids. Despite the current setbacks, some, like Musk, believe that electric vehicles will eventually take over the market. Here's a thought to wrap it up. How will Volkswagen adapt to reclaim its electric vehicle leadership amid current challenges? Don't forget to comment down below and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.